Hi, Winnie. Hi, sweetheart.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's Pep Talk. As I move through the world, as I move through my days, I'm always on the lookout for good ideas, whether it be a way of doing something or a word or a phrase that I find motivational or just useful to ruminate upon. And when I find a really good one, I want to share it with you. And this idea of passion versus curiosity is an idea that I think is really useful when we think about our lives. And where this came from, I was listening to an online interview with an author named Elizabeth Gilbert, and she writes inspirational books and gives inspirational talks. And she was sharing in this interview that she had just gotten done giving a TED talk about following your passion and being on fire for something and pursuing your dreams and all this kind of stuff, right? And she got back to the hotel room and she had a message from a woman who said, I was in the audience, I was in attendance at your TED Talk, and I wanted to give you some feedback. And now this is paraphrasing. I don't know exactly word for word what the woman said, but this is the gist of it. She said, what you said about following your passion and being on fire for something, she said it just wasn't useful for me because I'm at a place in my life where I feel stuck and I would like to feel motivated toward something else that would be really fulfilling to me, but I don't know what that is. And you talked about having a passion and following your passion. She said, I don't have one, or I don't know what it is. I haven't identified it. And so all this talk about having a passion just isn't useful to someone like me. You know, I don't have some burning desire inside of me to do a particular thing. I'd love to. I'd love to know what that is, but I don't know. And so your talk wasn't really helpful to me. And Elizabeth Gilbert said this kind of really made her pause and think and say, you know what? I really did let that woman down, and I let down people like her because she's right. Not everybody has some burning passion to do a particular thing. We all know people who, ever since they were toddlers, they knew they wanted to be an airline pilot or a firefighter or a teacher or some particular thing. And they built their lives around pursuing that goal. And maybe they even attained that goal at a relatively young age, right? But then there are people, and I'm one of them, who take a more long and winding road to get to where they find the thing that they're supposed to do. I've tried and discarded a lot of things along the way. I've had a lot of different jobs in my life. I had a career in banking. I've had a career in retail sales. I've had a career in restaurant work at various levels. And at various times, I left those paths to do something else because I wasn't feeling happy or fulfilled there, and I thought something else would make me more happy and fulfilled. But the point is, I didn't know if it would, right? You don't know when you make a change if the change is necessarily going to pan out. So, back to Elizabeth Gilbert, what she said was that she had a different thought. She said, instead of telling people to follow their passion, maybe I should tell them to follow their curiosity. Because curiosity will lead you into some self-discovery, right? You follow your curiosity and you may find out that that thing you were curious about really isn't for you and you might discard it. But that will then lead you onto another path, and it might be a zigzagging path, but the ultimate goal is to find the thing that you do find fulfilling. That has certainly been the case in my life. I quit a full-time job with benefits as a bank executive to go back to grad school so I could teach. And A lot of my family members thought I was taking too big of a risk. The academic job market at that time was not great. Um, and I'm not encouraging everybody to take a flying leap and cut ties, but I had been teaching as a part-time instructor for a couple of years at that point. So I had followed my curiosity in that direction. I had tried teaching on a very limited basis, and I found that I loved it more than anything I had ever done before. And I felt like that's my calling, that's where I belong. I finally found it. So for me, it was worth the risk to cut ties with my old career path and pursue something different. It doesn't always have to be a career path. It can be a hobby, an area of interest, but sometimes you realize going in this direction is no longer satisfying to me and I need to go in a different direction. And the only way to find out if you're going to like doing that is to stick your toe in the water, right? This whole story reminds me of a student I had at Ohio University who came up to me after class one day and said, I'm kind of in a dilemma. She said, can I talk to you about it? I said, sure. And she said, I'm a junior. I have enough credits now to be a junior, which means I need to declare a major. And I've been studying accounting, and I'm not sure if I like it. I'm not sure if I want to pursue accounting as a career. I'm not sure if I want to be an accountant for the rest of my life. What do you think I should do? And I said, well, I'm thinking a couple of things. I'm thinking, number one, the choices you make now are not a life sentence. Okay, now it's true that if we go really far down a particular road, it can be hard to make a change. But there's always an opportunity for change later. So what she needed to think about, and the advice that I gave her was, consider whether you are interested enough and enjoy accounting enough to finish out this program, work in that field, and see if it's for you, because you're not at a point now where you're fully able to decide whether or not that career is suitable for you. By the same token, you're at a crossroads in college where you can do something else without too much backtracking if you want to. So you could continue in your accounting program, but take an elective course in another area that you think is interesting and see if that gives you any ideas or helps you to solve your dilemma. But in the end, I can't tell you which choice to make or what to do. All I can do is encourage you that don't think of it as a life sentence. Don't think that you're sentenced to a lifetime of being an accountant and hating it. When you're at a point now where you're not even really sure what the career would be like. Was that helpful? I don't know. She told me it was, and I don't know now what became of her. So I wish I could tell you that she's a happy accountant or is happily doing something else. But I think it's important to remember that most of our decisions are not life sentences, but we need to try things. We need to dip our toe in the water, and oftentimes we can discard that thing later if it isn't what we wanted. Now, our curiosities might not end up leading us to a career, but they can be a fulfilling hobby or a fulfilling side hustle that makes our everyday lives feel more satisfying. So that's the idea I wanted to share with you today, passion versus curiosity, and that I think the idea of following your curiosity can be really useful for people who are trying to find a direction. Maybe that's you. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye-bye.